Tesla investors, the winds are shifting and they're all blowing in one direction. Today, we break down a wave of developments that strengthen Tesla's position across autonomy, robotics, and market perception. First, the Trump administration just signaled that U.S. robotics is now a national priority, with commerce officials meeting robot CEOs and preparing an executive order to accelerate the industry, directly supporting Tesla's Optimus ambitions. Second, President Trump says he's directing the Department of Transportation to immediately approve very small vehicle production. I'm not yet sure if this has anything to do with Cybercab or not, but let's find out. Third, the apologies keep rolling in. Even GM's Mary Barra now admits Tesla is the electric vehicle leader, reversing years of political snubs. Fourth, Wall Street institutions are finally saying it out loud. Legacy auto is doomed. And finally, we spotlight the 10 million strong Tesla retail army, a community more organized, more informed, and more influential than ever. It seems Tesla's future just got a massive boost from government, institutions, and retail investors all at once. We got Larry Goldberg here with us today. He's a serial entrepreneur and has been an active venture capital investor for the last decade. Check out his new website, lumacenti.com. Welcome, Larry.
Thanks very much, Herbert. Nice to be here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate this. This is developments that's happened just this week, and we've wanted to chat with you about it. This new comment from the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, he apparently has been meeting with robotics industry CEOs, and he says that they're all in accelerating the robotics industry's development. This is coming right after, the focus was all about catching up on AI, make sure the race against AI in China is not lost to them, and they're considering issuing an executive order on robotics next year. That's the thinking. We're committed to robotics and advanced manufacturing. When this came out, stock went up. Tesla, some people think it's because of this, but also stocks of lots of other robotics suppliers, they also went up. I think people realize this is important. How big of a deal is this, Larry?
Well, I mean, if you've been listening to the Tesla bulls in the last year or so, we've been talking robotics till we're blue in the face. Not to mention, so many of the other robotics manufacturers are becoming visible to the market. Most of them are private, still private, but none the less. There's a lot of excitement around it because I think there's a general realization that this is potentially the largest market, of any market. And Elon has told us that in terms. So even if you don't believe Elon, you now have to believe Howard Lutnick, and you have to believe, the administration. This is a big deal. This is a very big deal. And it is the front line of the automation battle against China.
Yeah, it is. And so it's been 2 years. I've been very, very kind of upset because 2 years ago, China government came out and said, we are going to become the leader in humanoid robotics, and they are investing in it and they're supporting the industry. This is the largest market that's most important for them, of course, because they're the manufacturing hub and they don't want to lose that. And one way to continue that is to invest in robots. And the U.S. has been silent, and nothing's happened. So finally, we're here. And I'm glad that they're also, like you said, interviewing a lot of the other humanoid robot companies. This particular article does not mention Tesla, but I'm sure they are part of it. Let's hope. Optronics CEO Jeff Cardenas, it's important that we lean in. Think about a national robotic strategy. Exactly. Support this burgeoning industry in the U.S. so that we can remain competitive. You got Brendan Schulman. Go ahead.
Jeff is such a great guy. I mean, he is such a great guy. I've toured that plant, their lab. It wasn't a plant; it was a lab, and seen the work that they're doing. It's pretty exciting and it's spectacular, actually. And that came out of the University of Texas at Austin. And it's an Austin-based company, just a great company. He's a great guy. I mean, there's no doubt we are at the brink of just enormous breakthroughs in this robotic technology because it's AI and the automation capabilities are just coming together. So, I mean, it's just an incredible moment.
Yeah. And full transparency, both you and I are investors in Optronic. We think that they're one of the potential leaders in the future. They have a humanoid bot called Apollo. They're backed by Google. Currently valued, I think, says here $5 billion, according to this article. And so that is what they're doing. And then, of course, Boston Dynamics was invited too. Brendan Schulman. There is now recognition that advanced robotics is crucial to the U.S. in terms of manufacturing, technology, national security, defense applications, public safety. It's everything. It's everything, honestly. So glad that that's been seen.
It should be mentioned in the same words that Boston Dynamics is now owned by Hyundai, a Korean company.
Yeah, whether or not they're an American company or not anymore, that's something to consider. Yeah,
it's interesting that these countries that are putting so much time, effort, and money into robotics are all suffering to a lesser or greater degree from the population decline.
Mm-hmm.
The United States less so because we have this, immigration. Legal immigration was enough to bring us positive growth. Of course, with our illegal immigration, there's been this enormous spurt. But nonetheless, our birth rates is declining, not as fast or as catastrophically as Korea and China and Japan. And I haven't seen a lot about robotics from Japan. I know Sony was active in that field, Toyota is active in that field, but nothing to the extent that we see in China and the United States.
Yeah, you're right. They need to consider that, and this is a potential solution for this. Just a quick aside, Elon replied to a post far as that goes. Guys, I think 2026 is going to be one for the ages. The setup is being beyond ridiculous. Just so happens to be America's 250th birthday as well. I mean, it can mean anything.
Yeah. Isn't that exciting, though?
It can mean anything. Elon said yes. But I think that, we are at the brink of robotics. Thank goodness the American government is backing this and going to support it. AI and then autonomy. It's all happening, and Tesla's right in the middle of all of this.
In the forefront.
Thank you.
Not in the middle, in the forefront.
Thank you. My mistake. You're right. All right. The next thing, we're still talking about the government, and President Trump, it sounds like he's now making amends with Elon. He's starting to say a lot of good things about Elon, and they seem to be friendly with each other. But he said this, and I have no idea what he's talking about. So you can explain it to me. He was at the White House, and he said something like, if you go to Japan and South Korea and Malaysia, they have a very small car, very small and really cute. You're not allowed to build them. And I've authorized the secretary to immediately approve the production of these cars. Let's listen to what he actually said and then tell me what he means.
Thank you very much. One of the other things we're doing, it's separate from this meeting, but I think everybody here would agree with it. If you go to Japan, where I just left, and if you go to South Korea and Malaysia and other countries, they have a very small car, sort of like the Beetle used to be with the Volkswagen. They're very small, they're really cute. And I said, how would that do in this country? And everyone seems to think good, but you're not allowed to build them. And I've authorized the secretary to immediately approve the production of those cars. So you'll be able to buy, they really are, they're actually, some of them are really beautiful, actually. If you take a look, Honda, some of the Japanese companies do a beautiful job. But we're not allowed to make them in this country. And I think you're going to do very well with those cars. So we're going to approve those cars. Would you like to say something about that?
Well, no, just that he never stops working. So even when he's on Asian time, he's calling me at midnight in the States. But he gave me the directive to clear the regulations on this, which we have. And so if Toyota or any other company wants to make smaller, more affordable cars, fuel efficient, we have cleared the deck so they can make them in America and sell them in America.
They're really nice and less expensive. And it really gives people a chance to have a car, have a brand new car as opposed to a car that maybe isn't so great. And so you car companies start thinking about that. I think it's going to be a tremendous market.
Okay, so this is when he made the announcements about new fuel economy standards. He's reduced the requirements for carbon emissions, so forth. So that supports the legacy automakers. It sounds like he's allowing car companies who make small cars to bring them into the U.S.
No, I think the allusion that he makes is to the very stringent safety regulations that make it impossible to have a very small car just from a weight imbalanced perspective. So you have to survive certain, impacts and so on and so forth. And the smaller the car, the less likely it is to survive. That would be that's how I interpret the words. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're left to interpret these words. What does a very small car mean? We don't make very small cars in this country anymore. Now, whether it's because people just don't buy them, or whether it's because the safety standards are such that unless you have, an X size car with X amount of protection, you just can't build it. But the Cybercab
Mm-hmm.
is a small car.
Right.
It's actually, the physical dimensions are actually fairly large, but the weight is extremely low. When I say fairly large, I mean fairly large compared to the Mitsubishis, the tiny little 2-seaters and 4-seaters that you have in Japan and China and India. In India, you have a lot of 2-seaters as well. But I would imagine that most companies can't do the engineering on the small cars because of the safety limitations.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much the gas consumption limitations, I don't think, but who knows? I mean, it's really hard to tell what he means. But that was my interpretation.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. We'll find out more when they announce it. This is something he's just teasing that's going to come in the future. Do you now think, as some are saying, oh, this is true, that's why Tesla could take a Cybercab, create a version of it that's drivable, because now the government is going to kind of help push that through?
Well, I've always been on the side of, add a steering wheel and pedals and sell it as a car. I think a 4-seater car using all the design criteria and the manufacturing criteria of that car, in other words, a variant on that piece, stretched variant. It doesn't even have to be stretched because there's enough space in the back there to have seating. I think that it would play well, but honestly, I think that all this talk is just talk, because I think Elon is so focused
Mm-hmm.
On the Cybercab as a robotaxi and just a robotaxi. I think he's so focused on the robotaxi business that I don't see them building, a
Mm-hmm.
Model 2. I just don't see it, but I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, then the Cybercab platform is probably an ideal platform for this.
Of course. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Let's keep going. So obviously the government seems to be on the side of Tesla now, which is good news. But back in the Biden administration in 2022, they held a summit, electric vehicle summit, and they did not invite Elon or Tesla. And he said something like, Mary Barra, you led. And so now we've had one after another. We had a number of Democrats step up and kind of make an amends, saying that it was a major mistake, and it really was a major political blunder to not invite Elon. Clearly, Tesla is the leader in electric vehicles. And so now Mary Barra was interviewed by Andrew Sorkin at the New York Times Deal Book Summit, and she said he was crediting me, and I said, actually, this is talking about him talking to President Biden. She said to him, actually, I think a lot of that credit goes to Elon and Tesla. You know me, Andrew, I don't want to take credit for things. GM CEO says she privately told Biden that Musk and Tesla deserve more credit. Yeah, so that's the news. Hopefully, the Tesla snubbing episode contributed to a massive rift between Biden, who credited labor unions like the United Auto Workers for his recent electoral victory, and Musk, who campaigned for Trump. So now, that's good. I mean, it's important for them to recognize that it was a blunder, and important for her to actually step up and say, yeah, this was a mistake.
Yeah, it would have been nice for her to step up at the time that she did it, rather than to go to Biden and talk to him privately. I think it left a really bad taste in the mouth of a lot of Tesla supporters, and it was incorrectly taken as a signal. Well, it was taken as a signal, and it was a signal of Biden's attitude towards Tesla. But, at the end of the day, the Biden administration passed all this regulation and legislation that gave, EVs a big boost. As it turns out, it didn't really pay off for Tesla. They would have been better off without it, but there you are. I mean, there was a plethora of competitive vehicles, the Ranger and the Mustang. None of those vehicles would have happened without the money that the government poured into it. So Tesla was not the beneficiary of all the government largesse to EVs. In fact, Tesla suffered from that.
And then Elon actually did reply during that time in 2021. He wrote on X, Elon, let's not forget the White House giving Tesla the cold shoulder, excluding us from the EV summit, crediting GM with leading the electric car revolution. In the same quarter that GM delivered 26 electric cars. He goes, not a typo. They only delivered 26 cars. So that's it. Tesla delivered 300,000 in that same quarter. So it's like, how could you, clearly, Kamala Harris said it was a mistake not to extend an invitation. So that's great. Yeah, Musk never forgave it. So that's good. And then, so that is the government. And then I wanted to share a little bit of what's happening on the institution sides. They're reversing course on the institution side. They're starting to say Tesla solved autonomy, or at least they're following along, says it's incredible. But now we're starting to hear them more and more say that legacy auto is in trouble. So first of all, just a quick aside, CNBC posted this article. So they haven't completely, they're still anti-Tesla. CNBC said this, posted an article, Tesla faces many challenges heading into the new year, and they're recommending you use options to make money on potential declines. They're now giving tutorials on how to short Tesla via put options. These traders are in for a nasty shock. Of course, this is the article. And Elon laughed, LOL. So crazy. But the stock could certainly fall. But when, right? For short term, maybe. A comment on that?
Well, the stocks go up and the stocks go down. I'm famously a Tesla bull, but I find it very dangerous to predict the share price. I mean, I'm a bull because I'm a very firm believer in the company's future, but I have to say, it's not an investment for everybody. Everybody has to determine their own level of risk and their own level of, their own degree of their own ability to go through these short-term ups and downs, particularly when you've got so many politicians and press that are so opposed to the company. But as we see now, some of that is alleviating, and hopefully it'll go away, because it's just noise. It's not real stuff. It's not what is the company doing, what are the company's real prospects, have we done the analysis, do we think that it's going to do well, and have we looked at all the risks? So, which is the normal way of investing. I wish Tesla were a normal company.
No, you don't want that. And part, like you're saying, part that comes with it is very, very volatile. It goes up, goes down. While we're waiting for these innovations to come true, then people will make up sentiments, and some of us are too bullish. Some of us are too, many of the media and the competitors are, come at it, and that's what happens. So we do eventually see, though, progress. And if progress does happen, eventually everybody's dragged along to go, yeah, it's real. So here's Milius researcher Rob Wertheimer. Yeah, look at this. He raised his price target to 525, up from 520. He raised it by $5.
That's a big number. That's
Anyways,
a big number.
He's bullish because of Tesla's growing lead in autonomous driving, leaving traditional automakers far behind with little chance to catch up. So this analyst predicts Tesla stock will crush traditional automakers. They had plenty of warning time. So poised to create significant value for shareholders. The fact that Tesla is extending its lead in autonomous driving technology over traditional automakers who are falling behind in the autonomous driving race with little chance of catching up. So yeah, there you go. At least one. And when one says that, then others start saying, because right now we have many analysts still up there saying, No, Tesla create, remember, this one. The Tesla Bull said that Tesla is a leader in EV, but all the other legacy makers have EVs. Now Tesla Bulls are saying that they're leaders in autonomous driving. Well, no, there's many competitors now with that too. And now you're talking about robots, and there's going to be many competitors too. So that's how they see it.
Yeah. Well, and I hope that they short the stock.
Yeah.
I want to see their conviction, their level of conviction, and let them short this. Look, the famous short players are shorting the stock, so must be a bad stock.
Yeah, I did a lot of coverage on Michael Burry, and he had to shut down his firm, and yet he's still out there talking. He's still out there yapping away. Okay. So that we're watching institutional analysts kind of start to change, to say the right tune.
There has been a sea change amongst institutional analysts. There was a time that there was a very lonely group of 4 or 5 analysts that were very bullish. And the truth is that they were principally bullish because of the vehicle. What they've learned is that the vehicle is just that. It is a vehicle for autonomy. It's not a vehicle for driving around and selling against other vehicles on the road. It is a vehicle for autonomy. So, it's a lesson hard learned. It's a lesson hard learned. And the real test is going to be, we have the situation where this 14.1.2 is really showing us that we're at the brink. We're at the cusp of the autonomous age. And not an autonomous age that a, $60,000 car can do, but an autonomous age that any vehicle manufactured by Tesla can implement. And the existing, 3 to 5 million cars right out there can do it. My car does it. I get in my car in the garage, I set my location, I press the button, and that button press is the sum total. All I do. Well, that teaches me that, Tesla could implement robotaxi tomorrow globally. Yes, there's a lot of work to do, but that's just step one in the Tesla future opportunity. Then we look at Optimus. We saw some video of Optimus over the last couple of days that is mind-blowing. The opportunity for Optimus is gigantic. And so, when you get to that level of capability and you think about all the other market opportunities that Tesla has with this technology, that's why I'm excited, not because of what, those Wall Street analysts are finally beginning to realize, because they're like a year, 2 years, 3 years behind the retail analysts.
Yeah, so beautifully said, Larry. I got to take that clip. The cars are just a vehicle for autonomy. Boom. And then I think what you're saying is really big is, okay, let's say I agree with you, lots of competitors, all the automakers will all add their own autonomy. That's not the game that Tesla's in, right? They're making anything that is physical AI. So anything that has a camera, they can make that autonomous. They can make that intelligent.
A camera and a computer.
Anything. And cars is just one. And then the automakers, they're okay. So we're watching this come through, and it's led by retail analysts like you, retail community members on this channel, and many others. We're 10 million strong. This Tesla retail community, the people who buy Tesla stock, 10 million. That is the largest, even more than GameStop. And the strength is powerful, right? Led by Alexander Mertz and many of us who, really showing the power.
Did you see what Robinhood did recently?
That's what I'm reporting on next. Yeah. So this is it. Vlad Tenev, who's the CEO, founder of Robinhood, said, "Welcome to Robinhood to all the Tesla shareholders who transferred more than $1.4 billion to Robinhood with an average account size of over $500,000. That's big for Tesla retail investors. Clear signal that people want choice, speed, and innovative tools that help them make their voices heard." So I think what happened here was prior to the annual shareholder meeting, November 6th, last month, prior to the vote, Chase, right? Chase came out. No, wait. Yeah. Charles Schwab said that they're not going to vote in favor of, the board's recommendation for Tesla in favor of Elon's performance package. And then the Tesla retail community stood up and said, if you have your stock in Charles Schwab, move it. Robinhood steps up and says something like, "Oh, if you move it here, we'll give you. Do you know what it is? Like a 1% or something like that, a bonus if you move
2%,
your stock, and
2%.
2%." And people did. And here he reported that $1.4 billion.
If you do the math on this,
Mm-hmm.
more than 2,500 people moved their accounts to Robinhood. Can you imagine one ad in X, one post in X?
Yes.
They get 2,500 accounts, a minimum of 2,500 accounts, $1.4 billion. When I posted that if Charles Schwab votes against the account, I'm moving my accounts, I got a call.
You did, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, you got a call. Yes, it was a movement. And like you said, that's crazy, but also smart for Robinhood to step up and kind of like, okay, Charles Schwab, you got to take that road. We'll take this road. And then the retail community is strong, 10 million, and we're organized, we're influential, and we're informed. So, I mean, that's always been the case, hasn't it? I mean, so.
Yeah, but I do like to always put the caveats to all the bulls and say it's important when we talk to the retail community that we not only talk about all the opportunities as a bull, but we also talk about the risks. So we should, remain aware of the risks, and we should allow the retail community to be well informed about the risks.
Yeah.
It's a very volatile stock, and we have one major risk that if anything should happen to Elon, I think we will be successful, but we certainly won't be as successful as we believe we would be without Elon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. And I think as a group, we tend to be too bullish, right? And we can tend to say something's going to happen in 3 months.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't happen for a year. And then.
Or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5.
And we get very, very, and all that. But we, just like Elon, sometimes we're late, but it does happen. So I know that you and I had this conversation earlier prior to the show started where, yes, the last 2 years, many of us were saying, the full FSD is coming and it's all going to come. Now it's taking this while, but now it actually has. It actually is at this point.
Really close. As soon as
very, very close. You can see it.
Take the support guys out of what do we call those drivers? The monitors, whatever we call them these days. As soon as we take them out, that's important. And as soon as we take them out and we don't have any serious accidents, then we're A4 away.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much for that. That's great news. It's great to see the government recognizing the importance of robotics. I mean, this is a national security issue. Yeah. Regardless if you support Tesla or not, you need to support American robotics industry.
And by the way, we have some great robotics companies in this country, in addition to Tesla. And there's a big enough market for them all. And I don't want to mention them all, but they're all great. I mean, each one is going to have its own little niche or big niche, or, they're going to have a price point. They're going to have a particular specialization. There's a gigantic market. Look, we've got a couple of dozen auto companies globally, and they only sell, 80 million a year, 100 million a year. They're going to sell billions of robots. And so there's going to be a place for, a couple of, maybe 100 robotics companies, and each one's going to have a different take on what is perfect.
Yeah. And the cars is one use case of transportation. This is unlimited use cases, unlimited. And so if you have bots and the other country doesn't have bots or is ahead, if they're ahead of you, their companies all of their companies will become ahead of your companies because they're
Correct.
just
Correct.
unlimited. Thank you very much. That was a very enlightening conversation. Appreciate your comments. Follow Larry. Go check out his website, lumacenti.com. Thanks, everybody. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.